let us invite our very first guest of the evening, and that will be Hamilton Clancy of the group The Drilling Company. And let us ask Hamilton join us. So while we're waiting for Hamilton to join us, let me see if I can throw up an image of Hamilton.
I think that's got it.
Okay, here we are, and I've got my image up, but every week or two, Instagram will change the format of how they allow their images and different things to work. And in this particular case, they've done it in such a way that the image kind of knocks me out of being able to see my own myself in there. But as long as I can see you, that I'm happy to see you there. How you doing, Hamilton?
Doing okay. I was going to try something radical, like turn the phone around, but I don't want to mess this up. Can I try it one time real quick?
Go for it.
Can you still see me?
I cannot see you. I can see a light behind you.
Let's see. Let's try that. That's up.
I'm going to copy you. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to try it also. And let's see how that works. Nope, doesn't do anything. My orientation is still the same. So we'll go back to this format over here. So Hamilton, you are the founder and the artistic director of the Drilling Company for New Plays.
Yeah.
And let me see if I can get rid of this image. I don't think it allows me. I don't know how that. It's as I mentioned. Instagram changes their format every time. So a button that I'll have in one episode will disappear on me the next episode. So anyway, here we are. And Hamilton, your group has always fascinated me because you're one of the ones who's been doing outdoor Shakespeare in New York for amongst the longest of the different companies around town. There's only a couple of groups I think that are as long lived as your group, or maybe longer. I think you are up there with maybe New York Classical and with Gorilla Rep, and we're not hearing you, Stephen. I'm sorry, we're not hearing you, Hamilton. We lost your audio.
Is that better?
That's better. I hear you now.
Yes, we are. We are Shakespeare in the parking lot itself. It's probably been going on about as long as Gorilla Rep. Gorilla Rep might have us by like 1 or 2 years, but we've been consistently, and Gorilla Rep's taking a couple breaks. And Stephen in classical came along a couple of years, but we're about the same age as far as our engagement. But Shakespeare in the parking lot has actually been happening.
Now, I remember the very early days when Shakespeare in the Parking Lot just started, and I think it was a different company. I don't think it was you guys. It was
Shakespeare in the parking lot is it's legend. We're very happy to be the continued the long continuation of a great legend. It first started by a company named Expanded Arts.
right. Expanded Arts. That's right.
Now long since defunct, but really while they were around, Expanded Arts was a really important part of the LESC in the mid 1990s when it was really a very different artistic time on the Lower East Side. And then that got Expanded Arts stopped. A group called Ludlow 10 decided to try to keep Shakespeare in the parking lot alive, and we met Ludlow 10, and Ludlow 10 met us, and they thought we should be the ones to carry the baton, and we've been doing it for now about 20 years. So.
Right, right, right. And I remember there was that transition period where Expanded Arts, I think they turned into the Faux Real Theater Company for a couple of years, and then
Expanded Arts had a couple of different things happen to them because they had a storefront space,
right.
and then things being what they are, that storefront space no longer became viable for them, and the lady who had started, she decided that she was moving on to other things, other adventures.
Okay, all right. Hamilton, I'll just stop you for a second. I'm getting feedback from the audience. They're saying that they either can't hear you at all or they hear you very low. So I don't know if you can get the microphone on your ear device a little bit closer to you. Maybe that'll help.
Is that a little bit better?
Audience, do we hear Hamilton now? Okay, audience, let's see. Can we hear?
There it is.
Can we hear now?
And I'm just going to say a couple more things about the fantastic legacy that we have inherited down on the Lower East Side, where there's just been so much fantastic artistic activity for so many years. How about that? What do we see?
The feedback I'm getting is that people, I hear you, Hamilton, but people are asking if your headphones have a microphone.
Let me give me 1 second. I think we can make that happen.
Okay.
Boom, 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 boom.
Let's try.
All right, how is that? Is it a little bit better?
Oh, that's much, much better. I can certainly hear you
No,
much
I'm
louder
not
than
hearing you
before.
quite as well.
Is that
Let's
right?
try that. How is that? A little bit better?
I can hear you great now. Let's ask the audience. Audience.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Audience approves. Okay. So
All
we
right,
all hear
great.
you now. Okay.
Thank
Now
you
that
for
we
that
can all
technical time, Matt.
now that we can all hear each other, so let's just catch up, and we'll say that for those who didn't hear, we were discussing with Hamilton the beginning of the drilling company for new plays, and how in the beginning their series that they now have been doing for many years, the Shakespeare in the Parking Lot, was begun by another company called the Expanded Arts, and they went through some changes, but eventually, when at one point was the baton for Shakespeare in the Parking Lot passed from Expanded Arts to you?
Well, we began co-producing with the Ludlow 10 group in 2002, and then we officially took it all. Was founded in '99, and we've been
Okay.
doing new work ever since '99 as well. So we do new work as well as we do the outdoor Shakespeare. And when we began doing new work, thinking that we needed to do new work for an audience that was truly diverse. And we began co-producing Shakespeare in the Parking Lot, and we tripped upon this fantastic, diverse audience that came just to see Shakespeare.
Yeah, I've been down to that. You guys were doing it in the parking lot down on Ludlow for many years. And are you guys still down in that?
Ludlow and
I think
Broome.
they rezoned that area. That place is it's like a high rise now, right?
Yes, they did rezone that. Yeah, there's a large building on our original parking lot. Yeah,
So
it's
where
so
does
we
Shakespeare
went.
in the Parking Lot happen now?
Well, now it happens in the parking lot behind the Clemente
Okay.
Soto Velez, at
Hmm.
114 North.
Okay, so that's on the other side of Delancey.
Since it's just off of Delancey, yeah, and we've been there now for since 2015. So we've been there
Okay.
for this will be our sixth summer, except obviously last summer we were not there uh, because of good old COVID. Uh, it
Right.
caused a pause.
Right.
Although
And what?
I've listened into some of your conversations. There have been a couple of people who were able to come up with fantastic ways to keep the ball rolling last summer. I think that's terrific.
Yeah, yeah. Some people have been very innovative about how they've been able to skirt the COVID closures, with masks and social distancing and things like that. And if I saw correctly, you guys just ventured back out. You had some kind of event about a week or 10 days ago where you got back out there
Yes, we
in front
did.
of a
We
live
had
audience for
our
the first time in a while.
we've been ever since we started in Bryant Park, which was in 2014. We've been celebrating Shakespeare's birthday in 2014. 457. We celebrated the 457th, and we couldn't think of a better way. We obviously were also celebrating getting back into live performing, and it
Hmm.
was I gotta say it was fantastic. We had a troupe of 18 actors throw themselves out into the live air in front of a live audience, and it was a terrific thrill. Um, it felt like you were breaking glass, you know.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. I've heard that more or less that reaction from people that are getting back out there for the first time in the past year or so, that it feels like you're doing something dangerous or doing something new, as you say, breaking through glass, breaking through some kind of barrier.
Well, it does. I think everybody collectively feels this great sense of subtraction. And it's hard to put words to it. Everybody knows that they've been cooped up. Everybody knows that they've been afraid of this damn disease. Everybody knows that there's been tremendous loss because of it. It's harder to put a finger on the subtraction of culture. And it's harder to put a finger on the subtraction that's happened in our city of these kinds of live performances, the sort of spontaneity that makes you feel like you're in a singular place in the world. And I find that uh, that's one of the things that makes New York, New York. You feel like there just are these things that could happen just about anywhere.
Right.
And that's one of the fun things about the parking lot, of course, is because it's a little unexpected. But so many of the people and so many of the groups that are venturing out to do Shakespeare in different places in our city, it gives a city a vibrancy, and that we've been missing. And you don't even know it. It's like you have to see how long you can hold your breath underwater. And
Absolutely.
it really felt like people, the audience and the performers, everybody literally had their heads bursting up through water and breathing. And it was a pretty wonderful shared experience. Um, so
So how did you guys you've been doing the parking lot for a number of years, since I think you said 2002. When did you mention that you guys started with Bryant Park?
well, we were invited to do Bryant Park in 2014. Bryant
Okay.
Park had come down and they caught a parking lot show, and they thought we were something different, and they wanted to do something different. A fellow named Ethan Lurcher, who was working with Bryant Park at the time, and he invited us to do a production. And we didn't know how it was going to work out. We didn't know how we were going to be heard. Down on the Lower East Side, we had the advantage of having buildings around us, but in Bryant Park, we didn't have that. And they were hoping that they'd get more folks than just the 70 or so chairs that we had.
Hmm.
So we were really lucky because they were able to come up with some resources to make things like microphones happen and things like that. And after we did one production in 2014, we were invited to do three in 2015, and we became sort of the resident Shakespeare company in Bryant Park. And it's been really fantastic. We've been able to explore. Uh, Now I think we're on to our 12th production. It'll be
Wow.
this summer, and each time they've grown, and we've been able to get more support. We've been able to get some terrific lights there. We had up to, I think, 2,000 people coming to see just coming to see Othello last summer.
That's
It
amazing.
was quite almost that. Yeah, it was pretty extraordinary. So we've grown quite a bit, and it's a pretty exciting place. Bryant Park is. We at least the people who are making stuff happen there. We're fortunate to be in that community of people.
Yeah, there are so many groups that do work in Central Park. Some of the outdoor troops, they're located in different parts of Central. It's almost as if you take Central Park and you divide it up, and one group's on the east side, one group's on the west side, one group's
Right.
uptown, one group's lower towards Midtown. But I think you're the only group that's in Bryant Park, and it's such a
Well,
wonderful park. It's so centrally located.
yeah. Well, we're the only ones doing Shakespeare there. We're the only ones who are doing the particular kind of work that we're doing there. It it provides some challenges that Central Park doesn't. Um, and so some of those are pretty big. Um, the the biggest challenge, uh, hands down, is sound, because
Right.
there's so much competition. It's
Yeah,
really
you're
hard to find a nook. So if we didn't have the support of the sound system, which
of
Bryant Park
amplification.
is able to work with this, yeah.
Right.
But then once you add the amplification to the performing,
Mm-hmm.
it it changes the style of performance quite a bit from our style down in the parking lot. Uh, and our style down in the parking lot would probably more closely resemble the style of Chris Sanderson and Gorilla Shakespeare. Yeah, because there's certain rules you have to observe when you're
Mm-hmm.
in that kind of outdoor setting, where it's vital that you get players apart from one another so that they can use their full bodies and their
Right.
full voices. Um,
Right.
you still need to have the same kind of vitalization in the acting, because otherwise it wouldn't be interesting to watch. But it's different vocally. Anyway, those are just those are the immediate things that pop to mind. And then of course it just winds up being a broader stage too.
They're such different animals because down in the parking lot, and I was down at the parking lot many times years ago, and I remember you'd be watching the show, and then a car would just pull into the parking lot, just want to
Right.
park right in the middle of the performance space. So
Yeah.
you'd have to move around and reorient your
That's
scene.
that's the parking lot tradition. The parking lot tradition is you stop, you let the car do whatever it has to do. The whole audience participates in it, and then everybody just sits back down and you get back going with the play. It's a
It,
it's it's a wonderful communal feeling, and when you're in the parking lot and you have that feeling, uh, it you really think that this is what Shakespeare must have intended. Now that we're now that we're at the Clemente, there's a little bit more control than there was back in the day in the public parking lot.
right.
But the fact of the matter is, the public there aren't. We looked around for a good spit, see if we could find ourselves a public parking lot before we came to the Clemente, and we found the Clemente was still in the heart of the Lower East Side. And one of the things that was important for us was that we keep doing it in the LES, because to us the LES is well, it's one of the great melting pots of the world, and
Right.
so it's always seemed right that in one of the great melting pots of the world you should be doing Shakespeare, because
Absolutely.
Shakespeare is one of the great emotional melting pots of human experience and human language. I mean, there's just no other way to put it. And so we've always thought that it was a nice match, both because of the way the LES is now currently and the tremendous history behind it. So we thought we got to keep doing this in the LES, and we were fortunate to find the Clemente. There's a
Absolutely.
fantastic place.
That's a great space also. A lot of great work being done down there. And how do you divide your time between the one space and the other? Do you do one show downtown and one show in Midtown?
Well, it we that's been our custom every year. It's slightly different because of different programming challenges in both venues, right? But customarily, we have done one or two shows in Bryant Park and one or two shows down in the parking lot. I
Hmm.
think this summer, as we're getting back, I think for the first time, we're actually going to travel with a show
Oh,
from
wow.
the from Bryant Park. It looks like down to the parking lot. We haven't ever done that before, um, and mostly because we've been covering more time. But when we were looking at the challenge of moving forward this summer, and as you know, you were just talking about the fact that things are just opening up so fast. I
Right.
tell you, 4 weeks ago, when we were having conversations with people, everybody was holding their breath about us doing these events for just 2 days.
Yeah.
It's all happening so fast.
It,
So
it's very it's all happening. You don't know what's going to happen the next day.
right, yeah, and this it's the same way for our partners at the
Hmm.
Clemente and the Bryant Park. Everybody's just trying to, and everybody's being cautious because we're all excited. People are getting vaccinated. It looks like we're going in the right direction, but everybody knows that. we've got to be careful because everybody knows we have to be able to hit the brakes in a second if for
Right.
some reason the wind shifts. And
Right. Right.
I
Right.
think I think everybody's trying to move forward just carefully because of that.
Right, right. Yeah, we're exactly right. Everyone's proceeding with caution. We're hopeful, we're optimistic, but cautiously
Yeah.
optimistic.
Well, and I think it's appropriate that we should be doing this kind of work. I think it's really the atmospheres that we're doing it in are some of the safest atmospheres for people to assemble in because they're all outdoors,
Right,
and
right, right,
it's reasonably easy for people to distance themselves and see the
right,
productions. So
right.
we're happy that our style happens to be meeting the moment too.
Well, I couldn't recommend more highly for people to come down and see your group, whether it's downtown in the LES or it's in Midtown at Bryant Park. You guys do fantastic work, and I've always been such a big fan of you and your company. So I'm thrilled that we had a chance to chat here tonight. If people want to come and find out what your schedule for the summer is going to be, where can they visit?
www.drillingcompany.org. www.drillingcompany.org. It'll all be right
Fantastic.
there.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much, Hamilton. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to future conversations. We'll have you on. Hopefully, we'll have another conversation about outdoor Shakespeare, and we'll invite you to join us on that one.
Thank you, Roddy. Thank you for all you're doing for Shakespeare here in the city, and thank you for your patience this evening. All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you very much, Hamilton. Have a good night. All right. So that was Hamilton Clancy from the Drilling Company for New Plays. And we are very excited to have them resuming their outdoor live performances here in New York. They have their shows down at the parking lot at the Clemente Sotoveles in the Lower East Side, and they also have their residency at Bryant Park. They're a wonderful group, and I couldn't recommend them more highly. www.drillingcompany.org. Okay, let us invite our next guest to